When I was in seminary, way back when, all those many years ago, and they were teaching us about evangelization and how do we reach out to people, we were told, we want to make sure people feel welcome and that they can trust you, and you speak about the beauty of the faith and about God's mercy and all these things. Jesus seems to take the exact opposite tack in today's gospel. If anyone comes after me without hating his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Whoever does not carry his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. In the same way, any one of you who does not renounce all his possessions cannot be my disciple. I don't know why everyone's not running after Jesus when we hear these things, but Jesus wants to make sure that we understand this is not cheap grace. Jesus gave everything because of his love for you and for me. And he wants us to give everything. We hear in the Gospels about, 3 different types of people that are following Jesus. We have the apostles. The apostle comes from the Greek word apostello, which means to be sent with authority. So Jesus sends the 12 with authority to go out and preach to the nations and to drive out demons and heal the sick and all those things. Then he has his disciples, which is a larger group, which I'll talk about in just a second. And then there were the crowds, the people that came along, that followed him, that heard his preaching, that maybe God healed from his healing ministry, whatever it may be. But they haven't dedicated their lives to him. They're just kind of following along. But Jesus says, if you want to be my disciple, this is going to cost something. This is going to cost something. To be my disciple, well, what is a disciple in general? A disciple in general is someone who follows a specific teacher and tries to become like them. In fact, it was one of these things that they would look and they'd say, okay, they'd watch exactly how the teacher was walking, and then they'd try to put their footsteps in the same path as the master. In other words, that they're trying to become so much like their master that they can basically know his teaching, follow him, and do as he does. And so to follow Jesus, he's saying, to follow me, I have to be first. Now, he uses this word hate for unless one hates father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, even his own life. Now, it means, in the Greek, it's to love less than. To love less than what? To love less than him. He's talking about priorities. He's not saying, go up and insult your parents. That's not what he's saying. And in fact, if he's using any sort of exaggeration in his speech in order to get their attention, he's saying this because, of course, we know at other points Jesus tells, I forget if it's the Pharisees or the Sadducees or whoever it was, he said to them, you're breaking God's law by saying, if you do give money to the temple, but you don't have to take care of your parents. So he knows how important it is to love our parents, but he says, I must be first. I must be first. Whoever does not carry his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. We use this language very easily nowadays. In fact, we wear crosses around our neck. It's a piece of jewelry. One of my priest friends likes to say, crosses were not meant to be worn, but they were meant to wear you. That the cross, in the time that Jesus is speaking, was a horrific form of capital punishment that had excruciating pain. And before that, with the humiliation of having to carry your own cross to your own death. He's saying, unless you're willing to follow me as I am going, you can't be my disciple. Any one of you who does not renounce his possessions cannot be my disciples. It doesn't mean we all have to become third-order Franciscans and, give all we have away. But again, what's the priority? What has power in our lives? And the Lord is inviting us to look and say, okay, what areas in my life have I not surrendered to the Lordship of Jesus Christ? And I think we probably all have some areas in our lives. Some areas of maybe a resentment. Some areas of struggle with an addiction. Some areas of sin. Whatever it may be. Maybe some area where we say, I want to be in charge of this area of my life. Lord, you can have my time on Saturday. And boy, I take up my cross every time I have to go and listen to Father Vaughn preach. But, the rest of the week is mine. What are the areas in our lives that we have not surrendered over to the Lordship of Christ? It's an important thing to pay attention to, because whatever is not given away is lost when it comes to the ultimate end. It's all lost. So the Lord is inviting us to examine our lives with Him, say, what am I still trying to control? What have I failed to surrender over into His hands? Now, not that this be some sort of a dire homily, I also want to make sure you know that surrender is worth it. It is worth it. The joy of following Christ, the joy of being able to surrender all to Him, why, that's worth everything here, even in this life. It's not like we just have to go along and slog, carrying our crosses, and then we hope that someday we'll get to heaven and then we'll be repaid. No, even here we experience freedom and peace and joy. And I can't say that I've experienced this fully, because there's still areas of my life that I'm working on surrendering. But I can say that when I have worked on surrender in this area, where I've brought it unto the Lordship of Christ, I found so much peace, so much joy. When you think about St. Francis of Assisi, here was a man who gave up everything to follow Christ. But what is he known as? He's known as a man of joy. He was out singing in the fields and in the woods. He was singing for joy at God's goodness. Now again, we're not all called to give up everything and just wander as a vagabond. But we are called to say, what are the areas of my life that I've not surrendered to Christ, that I need to give over again to Him? Following Christ as a disciple is hard. Like I said, it's not cheap grace. Jesus doesn't ask much of us. He asks everything. Jesus doesn't ask much of us. He asks everything. But when we give everything, we will receive infinitely more in return.